Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah and day 2 of the Spring Craft Countdown, where I'm showing you how to make 14 spring-themed Cricut projects over 14 days. Today we're making a layered cardstock design that's perfect for spring, and it's this wonderful rainbow and meadow design. There are so many layers in this. You can see as I turn it round, it's wonderfully thick with all of the foam squares and pieces of cardstock. This is a simple to cut design, so if you're new to layered cardstock projects, it's a great one to get you started. All of the colours work together beautifully, and I've added a little bit of shimmer on those clouds with some glitter cardstock. Let's get started. This project is part of the 2026 Spring Craft Countdown. Download the cut files for free for the first 24 hours after this video goes live using the links in the video description or by visiting craftwithsarah.com/spring26. After 24 hours, the cut files for this project can be purchased from craftwithsarah.com/spring26 files. Or get the entire Spring Craft Countdown plus 35 extra bonus files from craftwithsarah.com/spring26 bundle. The download comes in a zip folder. You need to unzip this before uploading the SVG files into your cutting machine software. For instructions on how to do this, visit craftwithsarah.com/help and choose Cricut, Silhouette or Scan and Cut. Within there are dedicated help guides on topics such as how to upload SVGs, how to modify them to make custom projects, framing tips, and how to cut cardstock with your type of cutting machine. If you have any questions, email hello@craftwithsarah.com. Now, on with today's project. To make this spring rainbow papercraft project, you'll need cardstock in all of the different colours of the design. I tend to use cardstock that's around 210 to 250 GSM in thickness, which is the equivalent of around 65 to 80 pounds, but it doesn't really matter. You can use thinner card, you can use thicker card, doesn't matter as long as you've got all the colours. You'll need glue. My preference is Barely Art glue, but I also like Collal. The reason I like these glues is they don't bend or wrinkle the card like some glues can do. The Barely Art glue is my favourite because of their needle tip applicator, which is very thin, perfect for getting around the smaller parts of the design. You'll also need some foam squares or foam pads. I'm using these ones from Dot & Dab. They're 5x5mm in size and 2mm thick. If you've got thinner, thicker, bigger, smaller, that's absolutely fine. You just might need to cut them a little bit smaller if they are big, but don't worry, they cut easily with a pair of scissors. You'll need a light grip or standard grip mat for your cutting machine. My preference are the light blue ones, which are the light grip ones, but either is okay. If you've got one, a brayer tool is really helpful for going down your cardstock after you put it on the mat to make sure it's really well stuck. The better your cardstock is stuck, the better it will cut. If you don't have a brayer tool, then a scraper tool like this, either a big one like this or one of the smaller ones about half the size, works really well too, or you could even use a rolling pin from the kitchen. A scraper tool like this is also really helpful for getting all of the leftover pieces of cardstock off of your cutting mat. And of course, you'll need the SVG for this project and your Cricut or other type of digital cutting machine. Here's what the rainbow design looks like loaded into Cricut Design Space. It comes in a nice size to cut, which is 7 inches wide and 5 3/4 inches tall. That's the size I'll be using for this video. You can see all the pieces by clicking the arrow next to the name in the layers panel. So here you go, that's all of the bits. There are quite a lot of layers in this, it ends up beautifully thick. Despite that, it's quick to cut because all the pieces are fairly simple. To resize the design, click it and make sure the padlock icon between the width and the height boxes is closed. If yours is open, click it to close it. You can then type either the width or the height and the other measurement will change too, so everything stays in proportion. I'll undo that as I'll be doing it this size. There's nothing else you need to change once you've got your size. All you need to do is make sure your machine is connected in this box up here and then press make. That will separate out all the different colours for you. You can change the paper size in the drop downs here, and then you can move things about to take up less space on your cardstock. You would need to do that for each colour individually. Make sure when you're moving things about that nothing overlaps, otherwise it won't cut out properly. For example, I wouldn't do something like that with those two clouds touching each other, because then they'll both try and cut from the same bit of card. Instead, make sure you've got at least a little gap between everything that you've moved. When you're happy with how all your sheets are looking, press continue and follow the on-screen instructions to get everything cut with your Cricut. Here are all of the pieces of my rainbow design cut out, and I've laid them one on top of the other following the assembly guide that's included in your download folder to check that I'm happy with all the colours that I've used and that I haven't lost any of the little pieces along the way. As with all my layered designs, we're going to start at the bottom and work upwards. So now I'm going to move some of these pieces apart. Take the clouds off and then try and get all of the fields in one go. There we are, because I've already gone to the effort of putting that all in position, so let's try and keep the order. And then we've got the rainbow bits here. The very two bottom bits are the purple and the blue. All the rainbow bits will be glued together. It makes a really nice layered effect when all the colours build up and makes it look really dimensional, like it's going downwards as it gets further away from you, which is why I went with whole pieces of colour for the rainbow rather than just doing it in lots of teeny tiny little strips. That would have used less cardstock, but it would have been harder to put together to make sure there weren't any gaps between all the little pieces, and you don't get the nice stacked effect that you're going to get with this method. Okay, blue on first. The nice thing about doing the layers this way for the rainbow is it's really easy to line them up because the edges are exactly the same all around the outside. Next up, we've got the green. If you don't get it quite lined up on the first go, you've got a bit of wiggle room until your glue dries to move it about. Next is yellow. Then orange. And finally, red. You can see I was having some slight issue with my cardstock on this and it tore at the back, but you cannot see it from the front, so it doesn't matter. And that's the rainbow done. It's really sturdy already because of all the colours, and I like just how it looks. You probably can't really see, but you get the rainbow in the sides as well. Next, let's bring all of our fields back in. Trying really hard not to lose those two little butterflies. The first one, the very back one, will glue on. There'll already be lots of natural depth from the bottom of the rainbow, the purple and the blue, so you don't need foam squares for this one. For these hill layers, watch out for the thin connection where the cloud is joining, because there's not a lot of card there holding them together. If you rip it and the cloud comes off, don't worry too much because it'll get hidden anyway, but just make sure you keep gluing the cloud shape on even if it does come off. Otherwise it won't build up at the same dimension rate as everything else. There's that one. So there's quite a lot of gap in between the bottom of the rainbow and this layer because of how we did all of the colours. But for the next one, we'll use our foam squares. I'll turn this upside down and get my foam squares in. Start by putting some in this top cloud. Again, be careful on that little weak spot. And then I'm going to put them all the way around the edge. Now that I've got the foam squares around the edge, I also want to add some in this middle bit here. If there was nothing here, it's not going to stay level, and you might find that the card here would dip downwards because there's nothing to hold it stable, and it's going to be a little bit heavy with the weight of all the other layers on top. By adding a few foam squares in the middle of any large bits of card that you're using, it means you'll get a much flatter and overall more 3D looking paper craft. So it's definitely worth the extra little bit of effort to put the foam squares in those gaps. Next, peel all of the tops off to reveal the stickiness underneath. Here's my rainbow, and I'm going to line this up and then gently drop it down. The reason for gently dropping and not putting any pressure on it yet is it means if I'm not happy with the positioning, it will be easy to pick up and move and try again. So that's gently dropped on there. It's looking good around there, but I think this cloud just needs that edge bringing down a bit so it lines up, and that is much better. You can pick it up carefully to have a look at the edges if that's helpful. Now when you're happy, push down to stick. Next up is the dark green piece, also to do with foam squares. Once again, line it up around the edges, gently drop down, and then push down when you're happy. Then we've got this green bit, again with foam squares. I want to try and get a bit of foam in that little flower so it stands out nicely. I've got some bits of my foam square from another project where I've cut these in half with scissors so that they're half the size of normal. If you want to do the same, just a regular pair of scissors will cut your foam squares really easily. And now I've got that tiny bit in there. The reason for cutting it smaller is that a larger bit would have gone over the edges, which means you'd be able to see it. And we don't want to see any of our foam, we want it to be nice and hidden. Didn't do a very good job of that. There, that's neater. The last green bit will be glued on. Push gently around the little flower cutouts to make sure you don't smush any of the glue out. Next up, it doesn't matter if you do the clouds next or the flowers down here. They're all built up separately, so it's up to you. I'll go for the flowers, starting with the dark green bit with those 3 flowers on to glue. This will push up against the lighter green piece, so you'll know exactly where to go, and also you can see from that flower how it lines up. And then the other green bit will go along there, also to glue. These bits are small. I'm going to need some more teeny tiny foam squares. See how easy they cut. And then you can glue the flowers on if you want to, or use foam squares. Just be warned, if you're using foam squares, as you can see, the bits you'll need are very small. I find it easier for the small bits to put the foam directly on what's already there, rather than trying to get it on the back of the coloured flower pieces. Peeling the tops off is also a little tricky. And then on here we've got the 2 flower bud shapes for either end. I think that's that one. Trying to line them up so that they match the green. And then that one, although that can't be right because that's the shiny side. There, I've used a slight pearly card for the white, so it's got a little shine on it. And then the 2 yellow bits. One there. And one there. and then the white to glue on top of these. The only bit of yellow you'll see is the bit in the very middle of the flower, so you can dab your glue around the edge of the petals like that, just making sure that the middles don't have any glue on, and then you can put the white bits on top. There. We've also got the two little butterflies, which again I'll do with some foam squares. Might not be in the exact same place as they are on the design, but we'll match it near enough. Red one and an orange one. Okay, clouds up next, and then we're done. We've got the solid layers of the cloud first to do with foam squares. The big one too. And then finally, the detailed bits to glue on top. Mine are all white and glittery. This is where the Barely Art Glue nozzles are amazing because they're so thin. I can get my glue in these tiny swirls, no problem at all. Push down gently so you don't smush the glue out. The edges of the swirls might want to pop up a bit, so keep adding the tiniest bit of pressure until that glue holds them. And last but not least, the detail for the smaller cloud. And there we are, my spring rainbow with fields all finished. There's loads and loads of dimension in this project. As you can see, it's really colourful, easy to cut, and perfect for spring. I hope that you enjoyed this video on how to make this super cute rainbow craft for spring. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more Cricut crafts and papercraft projects. I hope to see you tomorrow for day 3 of the Spring Craft Countdown, but for now, thank you so much for watching. Bye!